She talked here.
Before you do that, I want to say that Tom can't make it today because he has a cold. There's a couple others that really want to get in on this, but they're not available today. So we're going to be videoing this. So speak up when you have to speak up, and let's not talk over one another, so that we can get this all on and put it on Facebook then, so that we can all see what's going on here. And then Cherie also had something that she wants to contribute, and I'll bring that up as time goes on.
Okay, good. Okay, so Colleen is one of my favorites. I didn't hear her the first time she talked here, but I did go to, she talked and did some readings at somebody's house from the Awareness Network. And then I followed up with a private reading, which I highly recommend. She's very on. And so she's going to help us today with some direction on, group and other kinds of things. So with that, welcome. We're glad to have you back.
Okay.
I guess I can sit.
Yeah.
My name is Colleen. I think we're going to start because this room is so crowded. It is pulsating, and all of the energy is divine feminine. This room is jammed with female angels, female goddesses, female entities, a wide variety. There are shamans, there are angels, there are goddesses, there are ascended masters. They are all feminine aspect of God. This group, if it is willing to channel feminine aspect of God, it will take it to a brand new level. Anytime that you try and blend in male, masculine, warrior energy, you get scattered. You can't think of what you're doing. It's just too hard to focus. If you just go divine, feminine, girly, it's like, it flows so easily. You really are a group that can channel two prongs. One of them is healing, and the other one is teaching. But you have to do it in the divine feminine of healing and teaching, which is everything comes through the heart center, skip your brain, your mind, and your thinking. Just skip those two things. So when you're calling on your speakers, when you're deciding who is going to teach, keep those two things in mind. Is this information going to be heart-centered or brain-centered? Is this information going to ripple out as healing or teaching? Healing can be on a physical level, an emotional level, or a spiritual level. Teaching is to be on a spiritual level. You are not going to invite people who will teach you how to do your taxes better. Sorry, Rana. You are going to teach people. You are going to teach people how can you channel more prosperity in your life. Those are your teaching. Everything is going to be heart-centered, heart-centered, heart-centered. If you do that, these are going to be the most powerful and easily run groups. You're going to get evidence after evidence after evidence of divine timing. People are going to come here, they think accidentally, and they're going to hear exactly what they needed to hear. Exactly. You're going to have speakers that you set up that, oh my God, they canceled at the last minute. Who are we going to call? Who are we going to call? The person you call is going to be so right on track. You see, when you allow the divine feminine to take over instead of the masculine, things are more of an in the now, synchronistic way of being as opposed to an organized, set the calendar way of being. So you've got to be willing to, if things come up that you set and they kind of disappear, you just go, what can we do instead? And know that was divinely interrupted. Divinely interrupted. So whoever is in this group at the time it's supposed to be in the group is perfect. And they were all led here. Led here. Somebody wants to. Joycey. I know, it's like, when it's a crowd, they all shout in your ear. The electromagnetic field of the Earth shifted and changed in 2012. So your timing is so perfect for this device. And new and clever devices are taking off this year. So you're going to get your patent, and your timing couldn't be better to get into this particular field. And it's not that it's going to be able to shift the magnetic field. So even if you're not feeling sick, even if you think you've got absolutely nothing wrong with your body, going and getting that treatment will allow you to be in the right vibration for the current ascension pattern for this planet. So even if you're feeling good, go get one treatment. Get yourself up to physical ascension level, because it's just too hard to try and raise yourself up in a dense body, especially since the energy field changed, the electromagnetics changed. So time runs faster or it stands still. We're not used to those two things. We're used to logical, logical, logical. Time either runs too fast or it stands still. Like you go, oh, I'm running late for my meeting, and you go, how did I get here 5 minutes early when I left the house late? Lots of that is going to occur. It's occurring now for people. They don't even think about it. The divine feminine principle of God is taking over to balance the planet, simply because we kind of made up our ideas about God, and we made them up based on a male principle of God. When we make up our ideas about God, we have a tendency to only bring out the best in being feminine, not the best and the worst. In men, we think of them as the best and the worst. In women, we only think of them as the best. So we're going to get a much more loving, more beautiful, more accurate version of God from this point on. And it is the divine feminine that wants to come in and express through this group. And it's this crowd is eclectic, seriously eclectic. There are dead female relatives here. I call them, dead relatives, but there are dead relatives here. I mean, you name it. Everybody female is here all crowded in. There's colors all over. It's a nice energy, but they're so, right now it's like, let me talk. Yeah, and that is feminine energy. We just like to talk over each other, and everybody wants to be heard. That's feminine too. So instead of just going, well, we have to honor and deeply listen to what each of us has to say. So, having that be my message, I would like to have each of you ask a question. You can ask it about the group, you can ask it about anything you want. Whatever you ask is going to benefit more than you.
I'd like to ask a question about, I really get this, the programs, doing programs from that spiritual level, from the healing, teaching, and we're trying to shape things that way. What I'd like to know is, how does that feminine energy work in terms of group leaders and group, right now it's like, there's no focus anywhere.
You don't have a leader, you rule by committee. Feminine, you think women get together in a sewing circle, they get together in a cluster. They don't elect a leader. That is very, very male.
Yes,
women are a group, they are a committee. So when you decide who are we going to have to come for the group, you have a forum of 5 to 7 people, and the 7 of you decide, this sounds like fun, that sounds like fun, that sounds like fun. That's how you would decide who's going to come. 7 of you get together and decide. No one person does it. That's very male energy.
Absolutely.
Very male energy. You're just not you've had a very male focus up to now. So it's going to be very different, doing everything with group consensus. Because when the energy is male, you think of group consensus as just confusion, and everybody talking, and nobody listens. It's like, no, when you think of group, you think of multiple input, and then you get the best idea. Multiple input. So you need multiple input. Before you even start to come up with, who are we going to invite? How are we going to do this? Whatever decision you have Davy or whoever can do a oneness blessing at the very start. And then you actively call in your favorite divine feminine presence. If you've got a favorite goddess, invite her. If you've got a favorite angel, invite her. Invite her. Or if you don't have a favorite, you ask whomever is interested to channel through us in this group. You're invited to have your input. And believe me, she's going to inspire or talk through something.
Do we do that in our opening
Oh,
circle?
yeah, an opening circle. I'm talking about any time you get together to make a group decision. You start it with a oneness blessing. It's really, really fast. You don't have to do it over everybody. For you, Davy, you just stand in the middle of the little circle, put your hands up like this, close your eyes, and it just beams through you. The count of 10, everybody's received it.
What happens, we do this, but all these airy-fairy thoughts, we don't have any decision, practical kinds of things that come out of it. It's all like, let's have unconditional love, or let's have peace. And then instead of bringing it down to what are we going to do in this group here and now for this and that.
See, that's very, very male energy. So instead, what you do is you get a piece of paper and you write down all of those airy-fairy ideas. Unconditional love, peace, prosperity. You will find a pattern. And then you go, oh my God, what if we just allowed this thing will give us all the rest instead? That's what we'll focus on. See, all of it got listened to. You are so used to 25 years of organized masculine energy. Feminine energy is very, very inclusive, inclusive, inclusive. You write down those 7 things, you go, oh wow, if we do this one, all the rest can come through. Well, you know, this is the one we really, really want. This is our priority right now. We can put the others off. And you'll find that in looking at that, you'll know exactly who the speaker's going to be. You'll know everything. You go, oh my gosh, I know somebody for that. Because you have to think inclusive. You're going to have multiple ideas. That's what feminine energy is. It's always multiple ideas. And the cool thing is, it allows for multiple wonderful things to happen. So when you pick only one out of that 7 or 5 ideas, you're going to find that 2 or 3 other ideas get addressed. And you go, how did that happen? Because you're thinking all-inclusive. All-inclusive does not have to be confused. If you write it down, it'll get it out of the airy-fairy. If you write it down, then it goes, that idea is down there, so it doesn't have to float in up here. Until it hits the paper, it's going to float in, because there's a lot of feminine presence here all trying to talk. And they will just keep talking until you write down their idea. So write it down, and then as you begin, which one is the best? Which one are we ready for now? Which one matches everything else that we're doing now?
That's why we need a mission.
Yeah, that's why you need a mission statement. Yes, yes. And the mission statement could be something as simple as the divine feminine principle of God speaks through us to heal and to teach. There it is.
That's real simple.
That's your mission statement. So if it's not divine feminine, if it's not teaching or healing, it's not you. And the divine feminine looks very different from the divine masculine. It's going to be all inclusive. Lots and lots of ideas at the same time. Lots of ideas. But if you don't write them down, because I'm telling you, the energy in this room wants to be heard. So if you don't write it down, they're going to keep shouting, and everybody's in. Because you have lots of female shamans hanging out in that end of the room, feathers and all, they want basic, physical. Let us heal through the physical. Let us heal through herbs. Let us do this. Then you have divine archangels that want to heal through. Let us do it through energy. Let us do it through energy. Then you have ascended masters going, no, let us teach people that they are their own I am. I was like, wow, you don't write all that down. They're going to keep shouting until they've been heard. As soon as they know, oh, I got they got the message, then they'll be very, very quiet and allow all the others to give the message. Because it's not like the shamans at the end of the room want you to do everything shaman. They just want to be heard. It's not like the Ascended Masters want this to be an Ascended Master group. They want to be heard. They're all together to say this is a divine feminine principle of God. And this is how the feminine God shows up. We are shamans. We are Ascended Masters. We are teachers. We are mothers. We are sisters. We nurture. We open our arms. We listen. We don't go to war. We compromise. We are the queens of compromise. And we listen to everybody. We let everybody know they've been heard. And as soon as they've been heard, they go, eventually they'll get around to mine. I don't care which good idea it is. I just want to make sure they have all the good ideas. That's what feminine principle is. Masculine principle is very focused. It's very inspired. This is what you need to do. Feminine principle is, we'll give you 8 ideas. You pick your best one for now, honey. Because tomorrow, it'll be a new thing you need. It's a very stay in the now. So it makes planning more challenging because you're going to do it a brand new way. But your brand new way is going to be, instead of brainstorming, think of it as heartstorming. You're going to heartstorm. You are going to listen to everybody who's in the room with you is to come up with an idea. They're going to be invited to come up with an idea. You're going to write down those ideas. And then as a group, you're going to go, which one do you think fits for now? Because the others will fit later. You don't even have to prioritize them. Just which one will fit for now. And again, it's going to be so divinely perfect. If you go to get a guest speaker for idea number 4, and there's no way of getting them, but you keep getting guest speakers for idea number 2, know that that's how it's supposed to be. One of those ideas, the one that's the strongest, the one that the timing is perfect, is going to show up. So don't panic if you get somebody who cancels at the last minute. Just go, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Just go through your little Rolodex of speakers. Whoever says yes is perfect for that day. And you go, oh my gosh, it wasn't even on our list. Look at that. Look how well it worked out. Because your mission statement is always going to be the divine, feminine principle of God coming through as teaching and healing, teaching and healing. Yes, Rena?
Yeah, what I want to say is that even though we hadn't written the mission statement down, this principle is how we've been operating all along. So it hasn't been just a masculine-oriented approach. Just because when I was hearing you talk, it sounded like we weren't using the divine feminine, which we have, and sending up speakers. We always attract just the right speaker for that week for the people who show up. So this is just something natural that has been part of the group. So I just want to invite that conversation in as well.
Right.
Yeah,
I
so
agree.
it's really been working for us. So I
The
totally
masculine
support
principle of God is just as accurate as the feminine principle of God. I'm just telling you from this point on, it's going to be the feminine principle that wants to be heard, as opposed to the masculine. Whenever you're channeling God, it's always accurate, it's always perfect. But because now it's ready to be divine feminine, it's going to have a sense of ease and grace to it. And if you try and fight it, it's going to have a sense of confusion and struggle to it. Whereas before, it was masculine energy of principle of God. So you were a perfect match for what was going on. Even though the ideas were all very, very, very feminine, because this group is a strong feminine presence.
Oh, thank you.
Strong feminine presence. So it's always gonna come through as strong ripple of feminine. Always, 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 always. It's just the style now has to be more divine feminine so that it's really, really easy, really, really graceful. Really easy, really, really graceful. Before you were a nice match of the two. Now you have to drop the male and go full on female. And you're going to be finding that it's easy, it's graceful. Not better, just a lot easier and more graceful. If you try and fight it, it's going to be, what do we do, what do we do? And it'll just feel more like a little bit of a struggle.
Maybe that's like having the program committee instead of one or two people doing it, or something like that, you know?
Yeah.
That's.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Opening it up.
And then,
Yeah.
I mean, it's the same thing but different.
Yeah, exactly. It's
Yeah.
the same thing, but different.
Yeah, inviting more people to
Yes.
participate.
Yes.
And as you were talking, I felt like there would be consensus when we are all tuned into spirit, really guiding the whole process. And that it would be easy, you know.
The easier energy that you had before was very, very focused. What, sorry. Very sorry. What I'm saying now is there is an eagerness on the spirit level for more of God to show up. More of God. More of God. More of God. This group has always been divinely led. And it's got just a palpable feminine energy. Now, because there's more of the spiritual side of femininity that want to show up and be included. So what you're doing is including more divine feminine energy. Including more. No, this is a very, very, very feminine group. Extremely feminine group. This is also a very evolved group. This is a very high ascension group. Which is why it's so easy for the feminine aspect of God to show up here and be heard. Because everybody's listening. Everybody. Everyone, even Davey. Very, 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 no, seriously, just because he's a man, this is a very, very, very feminine male. Extremely feminine male. The males that are attracted to your group are extremely feminine males because this is a feminine group. So it just makes sense that the divine feminine of God would pick a feminine group to expand and work through. The veil is so much thinner now so that we really can find it so much easier to work as a team, a group, and a giant committee. The divine feminine just wants to be more included in every single solitary thing you do. Everything. The masculine was happy to inspire this one, inspire that one, inspire this one. Women like to show up and talk. And that's exactly what they want to do. So they want a little larger crowd, and they just want to talk, 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 talk. Invite us, invite us, invite us. Everything you've done up till now is you have kind of a feminine approach. Even the style, that's very, very feminine. Female energy always nurtures, feeds, makes sure everybody talks, everybody's heard. That's female, female, female. They just want more of that. More of that. So don't be worried if it looks like a little bit of confusion. It's not confusion. That's women. Just hear everything. Write it down and go, wow, that was perfect. And you'll find that things happen with ease and grace. A lot less struggle. A lot less struggle. Because there's going to be a lot of changes this year. A lot of changes.
So, you said that this group might be good to expand, so we average around 20 on a good day, so like 30 would be a good number?
By expand, I mean everybody coming into the group, bring in your favorite goddesses and angels.
Okay.
You're not expanding in the physical, you're expanding in the spirit.
Right.
You're actively inviting in your favorite girls to come with you. Let me tell you who really, Lady Nada, really wants to be a part of the group. She's an Ascended Master. She's usually symbolized by roses.
Not Lady Gaga, Lady.
No. N-A-D-A. Yeah. She wants to be a part. White Buffalo Woman.
Oh, wow.
Spider Woman. She wants to be a part. She wants to be a part. Archangel Jophiel wants to be a part of this group. Archangel Camuel wants to be a part of this group. Archangel Gabriel wants to be a part of this group. Gabriel's nice because that's both masculine and feminine.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, these are the beings. They just want to be a part of the group. And you only have to invite them once. And they show up every time. But it's like, that's what I'm saying by expanding your group. You don't have to expand it on the physical level. The perfect people are going to show up for every group meeting. You're expanding it on the spiritual level, actively, consciously inviting in divine, feminine principle of God. Wow. Because if your groups or your planning sessions are going to be so much easier. It's going to be like, wow, there's just this loving, nice presence. We just put it down like, oh, everything is just sweet and happy. It doesn't feel like, oh, we have to come up with an idea. It's like, wow, look at the abundance of ideas we have. And it's going to feel like an abundance of ideas instead of what do we do next. It's like, wow, we can do anything. And the nice thing about inviting in the divine feminine, it brings it the energy of, it's okay, you don't have to do it all today. You do what's yours that is right to do today, tomorrow will take care of itself. The masculine thing is you plan so well and you plan ahead. The divine feminine comes in and goes, you can plan, but just know everything will always be perfect. Everything will always be perfect. Because this year there are going to be changes. You are going to have cancellations. So know ahead of time there's going to be cancellations. So keep your little Rolodex. Whoever shows up is going to be perfect. You can even ask, now who's supposed to be here? You're going to get an impression. If not the person, a topic. There's going to be changes this year. This group, lots of changes. You're going to have more women showing up. Sorry, baby. And that's okay. It really is. Don't think that this is a female group. It's not a female group. But you've always had a strong female presence. You don't have to go, oh, we've got to balance the group with men. No, this group is beautifully balanced. Beautifully balanced. Whoever shows up, they've got something not just for this group, but something that this group can bring forth to everybody else. Because this is a group of channelers. Channelers. If you bring in a larger group for the divine feminine, you end up channeling. Let's see the best way to put this. You become a member of their team so they can help others on earth. So you will find that your client base gets much bigger because people who really need you come to you. Because they prayed and, oh, I just need a solution to this. And all of a sudden you've got a new client. And don't be surprised if they don't just say, oh, you're the answer to a prayer. Laugh and go, yeah, I know I'm the answer to a prayer. Because now I'm working with him. And like everybody's client base is going to go up. Because you're going to be allowed to be the answer to a prayer. You're going to have a spiritual team that wants to work through you. The group census now is what divine feminine principle of God am I going to allow to work through me in healing and teaching to benefit others? To benefit others. So you'll find that the people who come to the group, it's perfect. They get exactly what they need. Like each of you individually, your client base is going to go up. Or you're going to find that total strangers are going to come up to you in a grocery store. You're going to feel just motivated to say something to the lady in front of you and just go, that's exactly what she needed to hear. You are going to be conduits of the divine feminine principle of God. And that shows up as, and I'm serious, as dead relatives, shamans, masters, angels, everything in the fifth and fourth dimension that is godlike, that has a divine message you are willing channeled through you. You're going to find yourself in this group, even though there's lots of changes, that you're always in the right place at the right time. It's like, wow, how did that happen? That's because now you're in that feminine principle of we're always in the now. Always in the now. So as a group, you do have to plan. You do have to organize. But just know that you're always in the right place at the right time. And make sure that newer, easier ideas are going to come through, that everything is going to be perfect, and that the group is going to expand. The group is going to expand mostly on a spiritual level. You're never going to have more people here than you have chairs. But you're going to have more divine entities here every group meeting, because once you invite them, they stay. And they show up again. And everybody coming in has their own little guardian angels, and they can stay. So, yes, the group is going to get larger, but it's going to get larger on a spiritual basis, because you're willing for that to happen. And I know you're willing, but this room is flooded. Yes.
Well, being a male, I like to organize things.
Mm-hmm.
I also like to see things go on time.
Mm-hmm.
And are you suggesting, I'm not sure what you're suggesting about that
Okay.
sort of
The
thing.
timeliness thing is going to look different. It's going to look like, oh my God, I started late. How in the world can we be starting on time? Oh my God, I left the house late. How can I be here on time? So instead of, oh, we have to do this at 9:15, it's like our group always starts in a timely fashion. Our group always starts in a timely fashion. Linear time is extremely important. You'll never get anything done if you don't do linear time. But what you do is you do the feminine version of linear time, which is everything happens at the right time in the right place, but we do everything in a timely fashion. Especially say that every time you leave the house, when you get in your car, I always, always, always say, I always arrive in a timely fashion. I don't care about traffic. I don't care about any of that. I also don't care about when I leave the house. I mean, I always make sure it's normal. Unless things have happened and I'm running late, I still say I always arrive in a timely fashion. And I have taken 40-minute trips in 10 minutes. And I wasn't driving fast. It's just I arrived exactly when I was supposed to, even though I left the house late. I especially do that for movies, because movies, you know, they start on time, whether you're there or not there, and I love movies. So I always arrive in a timely fashion. Linear time will be honored. The stress part will be taken away. That nervous, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God part.